July 2025 Social Security Overpayment. Why your payment may be smaller. Imagine this. Over 71 million Americans rely on Social Security payments, and this July, many might find their checks significantly lighter. Why, you ask? Let's dive into the details of this unexpected twist in Social Security benefits. But here's where it gets controversial. Not everyone is aware of why their payments are shrinking, and the reasons behind it might surprise you. Starting in late July 2025, the Social Security Administration, SSA, will begin a new phase aimed at recovering billions in accidental overpayments. If you've received more than your rightful amount from Social Security or Supplemental Security Income, SSI, and haven't set up a repayment plan, brace yourself. Your benefits could be cut by half. This reduction applies even if the overpayment wasn't your fault, a point that could stir up considerable debate. According to documents accessed through a Freedom of Information Act request, around 2 million people were targeted for overpayment recovery in the fiscal year ending September 2023. The SSA plans to issue overpayment notices starting April 25, 2025, and will commence withholding 50% of benefits roughly 90 days later, around July 24th at the earliest. If you find yourself in this situation, you have options. You can manage repayments online, or even request a waiver if repaying would cause undue hardship or if the overpayment was not due to any fault of yours. Now, when exactly can you expect your July 2025 Social Security direct deposit? The SSA has laid out a clear schedule: July 9th for those born between the 1st and 10th, July 16th for birthdays from the 11th to the 20th, and July 23rd for the rest of the month. For SSI recipients, payments are typically made at the beginning of the month, with the next payment scheduled for August 1st and 30th, October 1st and 31st, and December 1st and 31st. Supplemental Security Income supports individuals with limited income who are 65 or older, blind, or have a qualifying disability, including children. Eligibility and application details are available online, at local Social Security offices, or via phone. As for the full retirement age, it's creeping up. For those born in 1958, it's now 66 years and 8 months, and it will be 67 for anyone born in 1960 or later. Early retirement options are available from age 62, but claiming benefits before reaching full retirement age reduces the monthly amount. Other notable changes in 2025 include a smaller cost of living adjustment and an increase in the maximum taxable earnings. The maximum Social Security benefit for 2025 is projected to be $4,018 per month. What do you think about these changes? Are they fair, or do they place too much burden on individuals? Share your thoughts and join the discussion. Alert! Social Security wage withholding resumes July 24, 2025. Are you affected? Get ready, because a significant change is on the horizon for American workers. The Social Security Administration, SSA, is set to initiate wage withholding for the recovery of overpayments. This development, which is likely to stir up discontent among many, will impact millions of citizens who, due to various administrative errors, will find themselves in a position of having to repay funds they received. Mark your calendars for Thursday, July 24, 2025, as this is the date when the SSA will start deducting the necessary amounts directly from Social Security checks to recover these overpayments. The total amount that needs to be recouped is estimated to be around a staggering $23 billion. Millions of Americans affected by this decision. Recent estimates suggest that approximately 2 million Americans have been identified as owing overpayments since September 2023. These overpayments have arisen from a range of administrative mistakes, including changes in income, shifts in housing situations, or outdated information that was not promptly updated in the system. The SSA has recognized these issues and, after a temporary halt in collections in 2023, is now resuming the process of recovering these funds. This decision to reinstate wage withholdings is aimed at reclaiming federal money that is owed. A controversial move in the U.S. The decision to resume withholdings is not without its critics. In 2023, the SSA paused these collections following a strong backlash from the public and extensive media scrutiny. The challenges faced by older and disabled beneficiaries were brought to light, as many were suddenly required to return large sums of money, with some cases involving tens of thousands of dollars. However, this pause was only temporary. To recover the owed funds, the SSA has decided to reinstate the withholdings, and they have indicated that this process will occur in phases. #, what to expect. The first phase of this recovery effort is set to begin on July 24th. According to a spokesperson for the SSA, this initial phase will primarily impact individuals who have not responded to previous notifications or who have not established a payment plan. #, how to avoid SSA withholdings. For beneficiaries who have received notifications regarding overpayments, the SSA advises taking proactive steps before the withholding date to prevent unexpected cuts to their benefits. If you believe the overpayment was an error, there are several actions you can take. 1. Request a waiver. If you think the overpayment was not your fault and repaying it would cause undue hardship, you can request a waiver. 2. Set up a payment plan. You can arrange a payment plan that allows you to repay the debt gradually without losing your full benefits. 3. Contact SSA directly. If you wish to dispute the amount owed or need clarification on the reason for the overpayment, reaching out to the SSA is crucial. It is vital for beneficiaries to pay attention to any letters or notifications from the SSA, as these could lead to automatic deductions from their benefits without prior notice. As the SSA prepares to resume wage withholding starting July 24, 2025, staying informed and maintaining open communication with the agency will be essential. The SSA has emphasized its commitment to improving its processes, aiming to make the management of overpayments clearer and more accessible for everyone. But here's where it gets controversial. How do you feel about the SSA's decision to resume these withholdings? Do you think it's fair to ask beneficiaries to repay funds due to administrative errors? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Social Security changes July 2025. Will your retiree check be cut by 50%? Social Security is changing in the United States and will impact retirees' checks starting in July. Recently, the Social Security Administration, SSA, sounded the alarm after confirming a $67 billion deficit, a figure that threatens the stability of the retirement system in the United States. Given this critical situation, the SSA had to begin implementing corrective measures that directly impact retirees, one of the country's most vulnerable sectors. Any changes to the resources allocated to their lifestyle would require significant sacrifices. Lee also says, Social Security clarifies all doubts. This is the ideal retirement age to collect a full pension. Victor Hugo Alvarado highlights why Social Security is in crisis. Between 2015 and 2022, the SSA distributed about $72 billion incorrectly due to failures in updating beneficiary information. These overpayments became an unsustainable burden on the system. Although these errors were not the beneficiary's fault, many now face the obligation to return significant sums, even if they were unaware they had received additional funds. Lee also states, neither 60 nor 65. Retiring at 62 has these Social Security benefits. Daniela Machoro explains that the SSA takes measures with retirees. Traditionally, beneficiaries who received improper payments had a 90-day window to return the money, with the government recovering only 10% of the monthly check to avoid severely impacting their finances. However, under proposals driven by the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, an agency linked to magnate Elon Musk, a radical change was proposed to recover 100% of the monthly payment until the debt was settled. This measure was harshly criticized for its extreme impact. After a wave of criticism, an intermediate agreement was reached, recovering 50% of the monthly check in cases where beneficiaries do not respond to notifications. This new policy will take effect at the end of July. Lee also mentions, Frank Bisignano is transforming the face of Social Security in the U.S. with these measures. Arturo Alvarado outlines who will be affected. The most affected will be retirees and people with fixed incomes who rely on their monthly Social Security check to survive. With reductions of 50%, many could see their basic needs, such as food, medicine, and housing, compromised. Although this measure aims to alleviate the deficit, it will only save $7 billion over a decade, less than 0.2% of the total deficit. Therefore, it is not considered a long-term solution but rather a temporary response to a structural crisis. Lee also adds, retiring at 67 may no longer be an option. This could be the new age to claim Social Security in the U.S. Francisco Fernandez discusses alternatives. Despite the new restrictions, experts recommend staying informed and making strategic decisions to maximize benefits. Delaying the retirement application beyond full retirement age could increase income by up to $23,760 annually. Using the SSA's online tools to simulate payment scenarios. Consulting with specialized advisors to avoid errors and learn about lesser-known rights. Sebastian Pergart points out where Social Security is heading. According to federal estimates, if no structural reforms are implemented, the Social Security Fund could be depleted by 2033, leaving millions of retirees without their financial support. The pressure on beneficiaries to repay money incorrectly delivered, even when they committed no fraud or error, has raised ethical questions about how the system works in the United States and how responsibility falls on the most vulnerable.